So and we are live. Kevin, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Sorry, yes. Hello, everybody.
You looked like you was at your phone.
I was making sure my phone wasn't on. I was trying, but I couldn't get my finger in the little bit, that you.
Okay, we don't need the details. Thank you. Thank you very much for the details. So, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday again, and I am so pleased to have four, including my lovely husband, but 3 lovely young men who are going to share their experience, strength and hope with us and fill us in on their project. What I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce you to our project first. So we're Kennedy Street Foundation, officially known as. We go by the name of Kennedy Street CIO. We're a charity and we are Brighton based, and we are a peer-led recovery charity. And thanks to COVID, what's emerged is a national recovery helpline where we offer support and signposting to anybody who's interested in recovery. So that can be you as an individual who might be struggling, it might be a family member, or it might be a business. We offer support, and my phone's just made a peep, so I'm sorry about that. Yes, so we offer support and signposting to anybody who is interested in recovery, and those are really the only people that we can help. If you're interested in carrying on with addiction, good luck to you. But what we do is we connect you with recovery resources. Don't mean we don't love you though. Yes, so it's all about hope, it's all about inspiration, and it's all about connection. And like I say, I'm thrilled to have these 3 from Creative Start in Grimsby, the comeback, better known as. But Kev's going to introduce you to the gentlemen themselves, and I'm going to be quiet because we've got quite a big group of us today to do a lot of talking, so you won't want to hear from me too much. But over to you, Kevy Bear.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kevin Kennedy, and I am the patron of Kennedy Street. It's lovely to be with a very hopeful day today for many reasons. One being some sanity has returned to America, which is pretty cool by me, my opinion only, of course, and my daughter's 17th birthday. So it's a bit of a madhouse today with people dropping off presents. So if it all goes a bit weird, then it's just Katie's birthday. Today, now, we've got a really, really good one today because it's all about creative arts, which is obviously what I'm interested in. And we are talking to Sam Delaney, and who is the founder and creator of Creative Start Arts, which is in the comeback up in Grimsby. We've got Jono Heskin and Ian Gower, who are going to talk to us all about the creative juices that flow when you're in recovery, because it's very important. Me personally, because I've been here in lockdown, as you can see behind me, I've got all my instruments and what have you, and playing music has been my savior, really. So the arts and being creative is very, very important. Gets you out of yourself and for half an hour or so, which is important. So without further delay, I want to introduce you to Sam Delaney. As I said, is the founder and creator of Creative Starts up in Grimsby. Hello, Sam. It's you're very welcome today.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Appreciated. So yeah,
up you go, mate.
Yeah. Well, I'll just give you a quick background on me. I don't want to go too long to be here all day, and I know there's a few of us, but my thing is, I'm in recovery. I've been for a long time now, and well, I never used to really do this kind of thing before. I was a city boy, so I worked on the Futures Exchange, and it was chaos, really. I had always had sort of high pressure jobs, and I worked overseas for a long time. When the floor closed down, I worked. I became a consultant, went over to Australia for a long period of time, and it was always really like a work hard, play harder type life that I had through my 20s, until the point that it just became unmanageable, And I was saying earlier, it's like I could always sort of get back on the saddle, and if I lost a job, or and the amount when I look back at the amount of things I used to get away with, I would drink at work, I'd have it hidden at work, So, but I could always sort of manage to sort of, get back to some sort of well, supposedly normality, but towards the end, I couldn't, it got to a point where I knew that I had to change or I weren't going to survive. So obviously a lot happened in that time, but I'll come, like I say, it could be all day. But when I went into recovery, I was 29, and I just listened, really. I just listened to people that knew a lot more than me. And my self-esteem was smashed to pieces. I lost me, along the way. I'd lost myself. I'd lost everything, like you do. But I think the thing that I really realised is that I lost myself, and I'd lost myself for a while. I'd been lost for a while. So when I come out of it, I really just listened. It was the first time in my life I listened to other people and properly, and just said, look, show me the way, really. And but I went straight back to work. I made a lot of mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes in my recovery. I did a lot of things that people didn't tell me, suggested not to do, So I went straight back to a stressful job. And after a year, I was still miserable. Like, I just thought, what's going on? I'm sober, but I'm unhappy. And after a year of recovery, I just decided to, and again, it was the people I had around me. They were just saying to me, look, anything's possible. Why are you in a job you don't enjoy? Why get sober? Why find recovery and do something you don't want to do? And it's that, that helped me. It really did. I mean, the people around me made me believe that anything was possible. So I'd always had an interest in art. I'd used painting when I was younger, but I lost contact. Like, alcohol, drugs become more important to me. But I knew it was always there. And as I started to get in recovery, I wasn't the sort of person that's going to sit there and meditate, but I meditated through painting. And it was quite quickly, it sort of came into my life. And people was always trying to get me to do it when I was drinking, and it just never worked. They'd buy me paints and pads and all sorts of stuff. But when I found recovery, it just came out, and it was my way of meditating. I think the first thing it was, I went through that period where you think you're missing out on everything, and I'd see all my old mates, enjoying themselves, and I'd start painting at the weekend. So I'd start doing a canvas, and by the end of the weekend, I'd have something to show, and that made me feel better about. I thought, well, I'm not missing out here. If anything, they're missing out, and basically, after a while, I started doing meetings and all that kind of thing, and I was very much frontline. I did a lot of frontline stuff for a good sort of 5 years, and it was intense. And I lost a lot of friends, and most of the people that I got sober with now, a lot of them are dead now, because that's the reality of it. So I lost a lot of people along the way, and then I wanted to do something that was a bit more focused on people that have actually made that choice to change. And I found that art was definitely a brilliant tool for that. It fills that void. I was 29, and all I knew was going to the pub and drinking, and I enjoyed it for a while, and it was like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I had to find something that excited me, something that I could replace that, to get that excitement from something else that weren't going to be destructive to me. And art was just perfect. It was perfect for me, and it evolved from there. It went from painting on canvases. And the old saying in recovery, you keep what you got by giving it away. And that's what I did. I shared everything with the people that I had empathy with. And I'm not one of these self-driven artist types. I don't even call myself an artist. I just use it as a tool to help me in my recovery. And I got to a point where I was painting murals. We've painted up half the town here, and it just got bigger and bigger. And I'm always trying to find new things creatively that I can do. We're currently working on a building and restoring it and refurbishing all the rooms, and that gives me something else, and I have to keep changing it and keep on re-evolving, really. But that's how Creative Start began. I got up one morning and said, that's what I want to do, and it was as simple as that. I had people around me that could help me with a bit of funding, and at the time I just wanted paint and brushes. I just went, give me some paint and brushes, and that'd be enough. And now, I'm running a CIC, and we're now got a drop-in. It's a massive step forward in Grimsby, because when I came here, there was no real sort of peer support recovery services as such. And we've now got an art studio here called The Comeback, which has all sorts of things going on. We have digital art, we have people painting. There's something we've got I'm in the studio now, like this, like a podcast studio here. Some training going on downstairs at the moment. We've got a music group. It's just all types of things. We've done outdoor activities, a lot. And it's just finding what that thing is. For me, I was selfish. I like painting. And I accept that not everybody's going to like painting, but for me it worked. But what I'd say is that it doesn't have to be painting. It can be anything. It can be cooking. It can be gardening, whatever it is. I feel that for me, I had to have something. And yeah, every day is a pleasure. Like, I get up, it's enjoy it. Every day is it's amazing. I'm so thankful that I've been able to, because I'm not qualified, I didn't go to art school, anything like that. It's all learnt experience, and just to be able to share it with other people and enjoy every day creatively. It's so important to me, and it's kept me sober, and it's given me purpose for, I was almost 16 years now. So that's it. I mean, the comeback is amazing. I love it. I love the comeback. It's probably, I don't know, I think it's quite a unique service because it's not just a drop-in, an abstinence-based recovery drop-in. It is also an art studio and a professional art studio. So we have creative professionals in here too, and community volunteers, and it's about providing that evidence that recovery is possible, but just not that recovery is possible. You can do whatever you can. There's nothing special about me. I came here with nothing. I came here with absolutely nothing, and I just had a desire and perseverance and recovery. Everything that I've done and everything that I've achieved has come from my own recovery. And people go, "Oh yeah, but you painted this and you did this and that's and that," and that to me it's nothing in relation to being sober and being in recovery still. That's that for me is the biggest achievement in my life still now, and always has been. But that's enough about me really. I let the guys talk because they'll come from a different angle to me. So I hope you got something from that. A little bit about myself anyway.
Thank you so much, Sam. So much. That was really inspiring. We'll come back to you with some questions and some observations and just have a chat with you later on. But I think we'll introduce Ian next. Do you want to give us a little introduction to you, Ian, and your involvement with the comeback?
Yes, certainly. Yeah, thanks for having me. For me, really, it stems back to my childhood. I had a tough childhood. I experienced things that no child should ever experience. I have traumas around that. I used to run away from home a lot. I had trust issues as a child, and that was, I feel like that's the foundation of my addiction. When I got into my early teens, I discovered alcohol. It was brilliant. I can't lie. It changed the way I felt, the confidence. I stood up for myself. I was beaten a lot. I'm not going to get into that, and all that. But it gave me all that confidence. And then at 15, I discovered ecstasy, and what a mind-blowing experience that was. Again, I'm really honest with where I'm at, and I loved drinking, and I loved ecstasy and the way it made me feel, and I abused it very early on of my early part of inactive using. I was abusing the stuff, and I developed problems. I had mental health issues as a child, with what I suffered with, and then I developed. I was sectioned at an early age, and then I just carried on with it and fighting against everything. Just being a criminal, really, breaking laws just constantly because I felt like I needed to do that to fit into this town and this ego that I had, and I wanted to be a bad boy and all that stuff. And it served me really wrong. And then I got into a cocaine that came into my life around the age of 22, 25, and I abused that. I started working as a scaffolder, and I earned a lot of money. And the more I earned, the more I took. And it started to destroy my life, my brain. It was fried. Suicide was a big part of my thinking, self-harming, all that stuff. I've done some horrific things to myself. But I was a boy. I was one of the lads. I'm quite popular in this town. I'm not blowing my own trumpet around that, but everyone knows everyone around here. And I was going into the boozers and I was high-fiving everyone. Everyone loved the character of me. I was a laugh, when I was doing that. I was a little bit crazy. That was my personality, and I thrived. I thrived to be that person. It's all ego, what I know today, and false pride and all that stuff. That's what I've learned about it. And then Yeah, I nearly did end up taking my own life, and I was stopped by authorities. They actually saved me, to be honest, from carrying it out. And then I was introduced to recovery in 2018. And for me, it's like I walked out, I was in a boozer in a pub. I stepped out of that pub at my last drink, and then I walked into recovery. It was so hard for me to develop. I refused to change. I didn't feel like I needed to change. I was loved and all that stuff, you know. I just thought I needed to stop drinking and taking other drugs. And you know, it cost me. It cost me a few relapses because I refused to change. I refused to listen to people. Them trust issues was still with me, and I didn't want anyone in my life. I mean, I had a good set of friends, and I love those friends, and I still do, you know, to this day. And it's just unfortunate that I've had to pull myself away from these people to save my own life. You know, I can't be around substances. I can't be around alcohol. It's so detrimental to me, and it's that I find hard. You know, I think I'm grieving my old life. You know, the person that I was. But in saying that, you know, the person that I am today, I'm really starting to like. I like this person. My life has completely changed, and what's happening in my life today is brilliant. I'm meeting goals. You know, I'm setting goals and I'm meeting them instead of telling myself I'm going to do something and then not doing it. You know, because I was always a gunner. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I never did it. I was full of pap, if you like. You know, but today, you know, while I'm in recovery and this stuff, I'm actually meeting goals, and I'm really proud of my progress that I'm making. For me, the comeback, I was introduced to that in 2019, and you know, without that building being there, I don't know where I'd be, because that is such a safe place for me, and it's a massive part of my recovery, because it's daytime recovery. You know, I'm long-term sick due to my mental health illness, and with me, without that building, you know, I'd be on the streets, I'd be doing stuff, and I'm not strong enough in areas, and I believe I'd still be using, and whether I'd be here today, I don't know. So I owe a lot to this comeback, and I really do. It served me well. When I go in there, I paint. I didn't even know I enjoyed painting. It's mad what painting does. You know, I've got this brain, which we can all agree on, especially the people in recovery, where it's just constant. And I'm in constant conflict with myself, and my brain wants me to drink and take drugs and all this stuff, and I'm battling that. And when I first picked up a paintbrush, I didn't know what I was doing. I asked, I said, I'm not being funny about it, but I don't know how to paint. And then Sam actually sat down with me and he helped me, you know, to learn how to paint without being patronising to me. You know, I was a 34-year-old kid and not knowing how to paint, you know, and I took it, and, you know, today I'm painting some brilliant paintings. You know, I did a portrait of myself, you know, that was something else. A lot of people think that's a bit egotistical and that, but, you know, to look at myself and to paint myself, it's a bit of self-worth, self-love that I got from that, and I carry that. It's great. And, you know, recently, so let me go. Relapse is being a part of my recovery because of my unwillingness to learn, my closed-minded and not letting people in, not wanting people to come in because I feel like I can take control. However, I've never been in control. You know, my best thinking caused me to be where I am today, you know, and I forget that. I relapsed a couple of months ago, and it didn't need to happen. I got a year sober, clean, and the hype that I got with it. And then after that year, I was stuck, and I was like, what now? I had no sense of purpose. I had nothing to go on. And I decided to come off my medication, you know, the medication that's keeping me well, the medication that has balanced me. It's a mood stabilizer. Without it, I'm manic. I've been a manic maniac, if you like, my whole life, you know, and I don't know why I got it in my head, but I did. And I come off my medication, and within 6 weeks, I was drinking. The last week of me before I relapsed, you know, was just so scary. I resorted back to the default setting of Ian, you know, the addicts. And I was just manic. I was mental. I couldn't be near anyone. And I backed myself into a corner. I used, you know, and that's a very valuable lesson for me. It wasn't like any other relapse because I've been restored to somewhat sanity. However, that first drink, I developed an habit, and it took me 2 weeks to get away from it. But today, you know, I'm balancing. I'm back in the comeback. I went back there because I knew it's safe. No one would judge me. You know, I had a lot of criticism on Facebook and all that stuff from other people that don't know. And that's fine. That's fine. You know, I post stuff on Facebook and I invite them in. So that's my doing. If I didn't do that, they wouldn't know. So all that, but I know in the comeback, everyone has my back, literally, you know, and they just pick me up. They love me until I can love myself, and it still carries on today, you know, and it's so valuable to me, you know. I'm so committed to recovery, and I will get this program, and I will find recovery and freedom, you know, and that's my goal for it, you know. But in the meantime, I need these people that are in this meeting today, and like the likes of you, you're in recovery, you understand me, and these are the people that I surround myself with today. And without them, you know, I'm losing, but with them, you know, all I can say is I'm winning, you know, and I'm proud of myself today. So that's a little bit of my journey. So thank you for having me.
Amazing. What an inspirational share. Thank you so much, Ian. Two amazing men so far. I do want to say a lot to both of you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hand over to Jono and let him introduce himself, and then Kevin and I will come back and really tell you how fabulous you both are, or all three of you are. So yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Jono.
Thanks, Claire, and thanks, Kevin, for having us on. Great what you guys are doing down there, and it's good to connect different organisations, but for the same purpose. Yeah, the comeback is good for this town because, like Sam briefly mentioned, it's needed. It's a first of its kind in this town. It's run by peer support, run by people in recovery. And that's what makes it attractive. We don't really have to promote the place, even though we do. It does attract people who want recovery, basically. I tried getting recovery 9 or 10 years ago now. And I'm only, well, I won't say only, I'm 2 years, 3 months sober. So I was trying for quite a long time, and I had quite a few relapses along the way. But I didn't realise I was disconnected until I actually started working the programme properly. I was disconnected from my life, from the world. Sam mentioned he lost himself. I don't think I had anything to lose. I was always pretending to be someone else, putting on this act. This is from childhood, trying to fit in, saying what people, or what I thought people wanted me to say or act like. So yeah, recovery has given me, it's restored me to my true nature, or I'm being restored to my true nature. I've realised I don't have to act anymore, even though I wasn't even conscious I was acting until I really looked at myself through the programme of work and realised that I don't have to be like that anymore. I can be free, and the more I work it and the more I discover what's not me, what I thought was me, and the more free I become. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to sound too spiritual, but having a second chance in life, do you know what I mean? Like a reborn, and it's been the best couple of years in my life so far. And I've been going through some family stuff, some testing times. This pandemic, it's been a testing time, but for me internally, it's still been the best time in my life up until now. And because I've had to adapt to different situations, face life on its own terms, face with my own feelings, my own fears, break through my own fears, where I'd never do that before, because alcohol was always my solution. If I was scared, I'd drink. If some emotions was popping up, I'd drink. I'd use it to control my life, to manage my life. So I used to use alcohol to manage my life. When it stopped working, that's when my life really did become unmanageable. I was powerless over it, and it was no longer my solution anymore. So I had to find something else outside of me, whether it's in the programme of work, in the comeback, just connecting with other people like me who have been there and done it, or going through it, or at totally different stages. And I realised that was a big part of life I was missing, the connection with people who understood me and I can understand them. People who, when they share their story, who are telling my story. The similarities are so so immense. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit of a spiritual awakening in that, just talking to one person, and they was getting it, and they were sharing their story, and I just totally identified with it. Honestly, being honest with people about the real me, which I hid for a long time. I say quite often when I finally put the drink down, I was a 15-year-old boy in a 40-year-old body. Do you know what I mean? With all these emotions and feelings coming up, the racing brain, and I just did not know what to do with them, and so I had to get some guidance. With the guys in the comeback, my sponsor in the fellowship, and just put my trust in people. You know what I mean? When I first come into recovery years ago, there was a lot of people trying to help me, and I didn't get it. I thought, what do they want? Do you know what I mean? What are they after? But what I've realised is recovery is just selfless. Do you know what I mean? People only want the best for you, and that was quite a hard thing for me to get my head around at first. But now I'm used to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like being part of a family in the comeback. Do you know what I mean? We're all there. We all know the ins and outs of each other. We know when we're not doing well, and do you know what I mean? All we have to do is reach out to each other. If we want to, you know what I mean? If we don't, we don't. We don't take no prisoners there. We've had people go out and relapse, and we don't go chasing them. But they know where we are. You know what I mean? When they're ready to come back, and they know it's non-judgmental. All you'll get is love when you come back through the door. Discuss where it went wrong. What can we do to help? And let's crack on from there. It's all about moving forward. So I don't like to share much of my history around drinking, because we've all got our own drinking stories, haven't we? And they're all different stories, but the madness is the same. Why we do it is the same. So it's all about the solution for me today, and it's. I feel blessed to be part of it, because the statistics and the realization addiction does kill a lot of people. That's just the reality of it. And what we do at the comeback is try and get the message across. You know what I mean? You don't have to die. Just give it a try. It took me a long time to get it, just through my own pride. I've been laid in hospital before with pancreatitis and going yellow. Do you know what I mean? I could have died, and I was still thinking I can do this alone, which I couldn't. You know what I mean? So I just had to let go of that false pride and ask for help. And there's a lot of pride in the graveyard, a lot of fear there where it's took people. That's what someone told me, and I didn't want to let it take me there. I just had to just ask, just get to a meeting or make a phone call to start with, and just take it from there. That's all you have to do, and be persistent with it. You know what I mean? One day at a time. That's all we've got. All anyone's got, one day at a time. When someone said that to me, just stay sober for today, I think, I can do that. You know what I mean? Instead of my head looking into 20 years, how am I going to do that? It's just not real, is it? We've only got today, and I'm happy being in my own skin today, which I never was. I was always trying to get out of myself through drink, through drugs, through gambling, through my other behaviours. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy being in my own skin today and being comfortable for where I am, and being part of the comeback has given me a lot of that, and it's helped me grow massively. So yeah, anyone's welcome who's wanting recovery, or just give it a try. Do you know what I mean? That's a message we try and get out there. Got nothing to lose, and everything to gain. Yes, I'll leave it there for now. Cheers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jono. So much identification. And considering I wasn't going to say much, I can't not say much. I'm not going to lie. Loads of identification with all of you, really. Really powerful shares. Thank you for your honesty. Honestly, it's hearing stories like yours that really does help people connect, and to help them understand that they're not on their own. And that's what worked for me. You know, I didn't know what I didn't know, because I didn't know it, you know. And that's the thing about recovery, is you don't know you need it until you actually sit and hear other people share their experience, strength and hope with you. And you realise that actually, you know what, there is a different way. But like you've explained beautifully, all of you really, is the stopping drinking, drug taking and dysfunctional behaviour is just a part of it. It's just a part of it. If you don't work on the other areas of your life, you know, for me, it was so important that I changed my friends, you know, changed the places that I went, all of the things that I didn't know how to do until I got into recovery. You know, there was lots and lots of changes that I had to make that were going to be life-saving. And it's not just life-changing, is it? It's life-saving, you know, and I'm really grateful that you've all taken that step and, you know, got into recovery, and not only got into recovery, but stepped up and want to make a difference, because having these visible hubs in our communities are like beacons of hope for me, you know. Whilst I absolutely adore all forms of recovery, you know, all of the fellowships, all of the rehabs, whatever, therapists, whatever it is that people need, because like you've all shared, you know, it's not one size fits all. This is about, like Ian said, of his experience, it's about collecting the tools that are going to apply to your life when you're in that moment of your life, you know. And we evolve and we grow and we need new tools and we need to get rid of other people and get new people. And, you know, there's so much to be done. And I think you've articulated it beautifully, and you've given me hope. And it's just, I get excited hearing people like you guys, because what it makes me realise is that I've got recovery family now in Grimsby, and I feel, you know what I mean? I know that you're there in Grimsby, and for sure we're going to come and visit. And I can't wait to proper give you a hug. I'm not going to lie, I'm a proper hugger. I really miss hugging people. So you're in for a hug, a big hug when this lockdown's done. But I'm going to hand over to Kev, because I'm sure he's got lots of identification and lots of things that he wants to ask you as well.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed that, actually. And for me, the theme of what everyone's been saying is about the relapse, even in the very name, the comeback. You know, the comeback from a relapse. And for a relapse, for people who didn't know, is when you go out, when you've had recovery and you go back drinking or using again. And everyone gets very kind of nervous about relapsing, and it's a bit, everyone gets a bit uptight about it. But this is me personally. I think it's an important part of recovery. I mean, I don't recommend it. I mean, I think if you've got it, you've got it. But a lot of people have to go out and have the convincer, as we say. And from what Ian said, you know, nothing is wasted in this. I think, you know, if you go out there again, I think, you know, if you get to come back, you come back a wiser person. And I speak there from experience. I certainly do. But I would like to ask Sam, what other kind of, I mean, you've talked about painting at the comeback. What are your views on relapsing and coming back? And what else do you do at the comeback for the arts and things like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's funny because the way I don't call it a relapse. It's probably the way I was taught in a way, but I just called it what it is. Like a drink, or you take drugs, and that was like my mentor really made me think that way. And I know that I'm very fortunate. I've never had like a relapse as such. From the moment that I put it down, I've not picked up again. Now I know that's quite rare. But what I would say is, like, the thing with the comeback, what I wanted to do was provide a service where if people did relapse, they would be comfortable coming back in. And that's what I wanted to achieve. And it has happened. We've been very fortunate since we've opened. We've not had many. But when they've happened, they've always come in and been honest with us. And I can work with that. And in a way, I get more respect from people when they have a relapse. It sounds crazy, but when Ian come back in, and a couple of the other guys, when they come back in after a relapse and they come up to me and said, "This is what's happened, Sam," you know, I get a newfound respect for them. You know, they sort of go up a level with me, and because it's the honesty. You know, for me, if someone's honest with me, I can help them. So and that's the most important thing. And I think the sign of a good service is that where people are comfortable to come back in. And on the second question about the arts and what goes on here, what I try and do is find out what people want to do, what are their interests, and then what I say to them is that I lead by example. So I go, look, if that's what you want to do, it can be done. I'll support you. Everybody at the comeback will support you. We have a music group. I come in here the other day, and we're open because we're a mutual aid service, and we're allowed to be open. But we obviously have restrictions in place. But we had one of the guys come up to me and he said, look, I want to set a music group up. And I kind of go, what I do is I say, right, I'll support you with that. But sometimes they'll come to me and they're expecting you to do all the work, set it all up for them. And what I sort of put it back onto them to find out what their commitment is, So it's all about putting the choice onto people. And the same with recovery. It's got to be from them. And then I came in here the other day and they're all singing ABBA, like killing ABBA songs in here. So I'm like, that sounds like quite a bit of fun. And I've walked through and they're all singing and everything at the back. And they're just having a right laugh with it. None of them can sing. But they're doing it. And, a guy called Carlo's coming here as well. And he's got a lot of experience and he's been in recovery for a good number of years. And he delivers that this morning. He's doing some training down there, some recovery training. But he does creative writing groups. And we do, the other thing we do is merchandising. So we're always trying to find, what we're trying to do is provide all the tools so that we can't do it for them, but all the tools are here. So like I said, there's a podcasting studio here. You can come in and do a recording, not whoever you are. We've got a t-shirt press. We can create mugs, merchandise. We can do print out posters. Everything's here. Everything's here to all the tools are here. It's just a place of opportunity. So, and I can't do it all, I do so much of it. And then I kind of had to pull away a bit from the sort of art groups because there's always other bigger things going on. And I think with a lot of the art projects that we do, especially the big community projects where, we've painted murals in the middle of the town and stuff like that. We don't just involve people in recovery. We involve as many people as possible because what we're trying to do is not that, get them barriers away, between people that are in recovery and just everybody else. And what I did find, this is one of the things I did find where you run in because I had to get over that hurdle of running what is a company in a sense, and also something that's about recovery and mutual aid. So, but the way I do it is I know that I can get commissioned to go and do artwork, but I found that, and this is one thing, it's not a criticism or anything, but I found that when I was going out and I was saying, like someone said, could you paint on this wall? And it all comes down to confidence, because of the, experience. And I say, yeah, but, and I was going along the lines of, yeah, and I've got loads of people in recovery going to come down and help us out. And straight away you see the faces change because I think they have this vision of what recovery is. They think they're all going to come down off their heads and, quite the opposite. And I've stopped doing that. I stopped doing it. I started to say, no, we're an arts organisation. That's what we are. So we'll come in, we'll do a good job. We'll come and do a good job at that. And then it's a slow reveal. So then once we've done it and then everyone's committed going, oh, wow, it's brilliant. Then you go, well, yeah, and by the way, these guys are in recovery, so, and that works better. It seems to work better because there is still that stigma attached. And one of the things with the comeback, our main thing is to tackle stigma here. It's to tackle the stigma that's out there. And by doing that, the way we do that is to be creative. So create things, do great works of art, do all these things and show people, look, we're not a load of lunatics. We can do things. We've all got abilities. Everyone that walks through that door has got an ability. They just haven't discovered it yet. My kind of job is just to try and help them discover it and then show them what they can do with it. And I don't want people to stay at the comeback. They'll always be welcome here, but I want them to do what I've done. Really, that's what I want people to do. I want them to be inspired by what I've done and go and do the same thing. Go and set their own creative startup, their own comeback up. It's not a case of numbers, like having to have loads of people through the door. It's more about inspiring people. And there's all sorts of creative things going on every day. It's like there's something creative going on in here. And they love painting. I mean, people just seem to love painting. Once you show them sort of simple techniques, and that's all that people need. That's all I needed. I just need a couple of simple techniques that I could use. They latch onto it, and then and it just works. It worked for me, and I see it working for a lot of other people. Art's an amazing tool, all forms of art. And it's such a, I mean, I look at everything's art. To me, everything is art. Everything. Someone said to me once when I was setting up Creative Start, look at a funding bid like a piece of art, and you might be able to, it might not drive you mad, because I don't like writing funding bids. I don't think anyone does. So I try and look at everything like art. And that's what, I mean, I've seen John and Ian paint a few, and we stick them all up on the wall, and we try and paint people that are in recovery as well, because it's about getting people to think about what they want to paint. That's half of the battle, trying to find, you can give everybody the canvases and the paint, and they'll just sit there and look at it. So it's what we try and do is paint people that they admire in the public eye, and then if we can find people that are in recovery, even better, And there's loads of people in the public eye that are in recovery, obviously. So, which again shows people that you're not alone. You're not alone. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, because I've got a habit of, going off on one.
No, fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
I loved it. And yeah, I love art too. One of the things that when I stopped drinking and using, I was obviously got meetings, and I had a therapist as well. And she said to me when I was about 3 months sober, she said, "So what are your hobbies?" And I was like, "Well, I go to meetings, and I go to meetings, and I do recovery." And she said, "No, I want you to tell me about what else you do." I was like, "What do you mean, what else I do?" And she said, "It's really important." She said, "Obviously, recovery is important, it's critical." She said, "But you do know that recovery is also a bridge to normal living, don't you?" She said, "And it's really important that you do find your gifts and your talents, and you do things that are helpful and, help you to connect to mindfulness and all sorts." So she said, what were you good at school?" So I said, "Well, drinking." And she said, "No, not that bit." She said, "What else did you enjoy then? What did you enjoy at school?" I was like, "Well, I enjoyed art, but I wasn't very good." She went, "No, I didn't ask you what you was good at. I asked you what you enjoyed." And so I said, "Well, I really enjoyed art, but I was rubbish." She said, "No, I don't want you to tell me the rubbish bit." She said, "I want you to go and sign yourself up for an art class." I was like, "Oh." And you know what? It was one of the best things I ever did. Really the best. I still love art now. Both of my daughters are very artist, or our daughters, I should say, are very artistic, and it's really good for their mental health too. So I was going to ask Ian, have you found the creativity side of your recovery? Have you found that that's helped your mental health as well as your recovery?
Yeah, for sure. The feeling that I get is, as I mentioned earlier, I've got this mind that just keeps on going. When I was painting, I wasn't there. There was nothing around this drama the carnage that I create for myself in this outside world. It just disappeared, and it was the first time that I first painted, and it was the first time I've been quiet in a long time. He even said to the people in the room, "Oh, Jesus, I've just been quiet for 10 minutes, not a paint. That's the quietest." And everyone, "Yeah, go on, keep painting. It's peaceful." You know what I mean? And it was, but for me, I'm just outside of myself. It takes me into this dimension, if you like, where it's just calm, it's quiet, and it's beautiful. It really is, and that's where I get from it. And that's why it takes me back to painting. Whenever I'm having them days, I'm having a bit of an off day, I will paint, because it's the soothing relaxation. It's a form of meditation to me. Do you know what I mean? An active meditation, and that's what I get from it. I get it from walking. I walk. I've got me a little puppy, and I go walking, and that's the sense. But sometimes I can be in overload. But what I get from the painting is the sense of peace, peacefulness within my life, within myself, and it's great. That's what I've got for the creativity.
Yeah, I really, really resonate with that. Well, it resonates with me because I've been in lockdown. As you see, I've got all my stuff here, And I found myself, I was just normally a plug it in and play it kind of merchant, play live or what have you, always. Never been too interested in recording stuff. But into lockdown, I got a guitar interface. Yeah, I didn't know what it was either. And once I started playing with that and putting different sounds into it, I got completely and utterly lost in it. And it was a very peaceful feeling, even though it was quite manic because I was getting angry because I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do, right? Because I'm not that technically minded. So I had to sort of go back to the beginning and nearly read the instructions. I suppose most addicts, we don't do that, do we? We just think we can do it and get stuck in. But I had to sort of do that, and it's very good for me. You know, and even though it's frustrating because I don't know how to edit properly, and if I do play a piece, I've got to play it all in one and get it right the first time round, because I can't drop into it. But that's all part of it. But the point is, I was trying to put this song together, and when I'd finished it, I must have been doing it for 4 or 5 hours. And during that 4 or 5 hours, not once did my disease interfere. It didn't come into my head. I wasn't thinking about the future. I wasn't thinking about the pandemic. I wasn't stressing about anything. I was completely into what I was doing. And I found it amazing. So I really recognize what you're talking about. And I wondered, Jono, did you get that same sort of feeling?
Yeah, totally. When I left school, I went to art college because I had a bit of an artistic flair about me. And then as the years went on, I was too busy partying and stuff, and you just forget. That side of me seems to have died off. And then when I first met Sam, he just showed me some simple techniques. And then that sort of like woke you up again. And then you start thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then your own ideas come to light. So these little simple bits of arts that we start people off with, that's just like a door that opens. Do you know what I mean? Just opens up the creativity again in people, because it did me. And do you know what I mean? It lets them out the box, basically, and then they can go with whichever creative route they want to. It's amazing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Just something so simple, but can have such an impact on people's lives. It did on my life as well. Do you know what I mean? I've got an easel set up upstairs now with canvases, and I've just cleared out a spare room so I can just have a bit of me time. Like you said with your guitar, you can get lost for hours, and it's ace like that where you can just sit with yourself and just be in the moment in your own little space and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's great stuff. Amazing. To be settled.
And Sam, where can we find the comeback physically? And what are your hours? Are you open office hours, or how do we get into it?
Yeah, I would add that. I was just add also, if you could just talk us through how would people access this sort of support? If you could bombard you before we finish.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, the simple way is if you put the Comeback Grimsby into Google, it will come up and the address will be there and you'll see the website there. That's the simple way. But yeah, what we do is we do have a referral process, because we need to protect the people in here, and there has been other drop-ins where it's kind of been sort of let everybody in and expect miracles, and we didn't want that. We wanted it to be a place where people were abstinent, and there was quite a bit of work that we had to do around that, because we also don't want to turn anyone away. So we'll speak to everybody, anybody that's affected by addiction, anybody that needs us, we'll speak to them. But what we do is what we say with the Comeback is that if someone's still in active addiction, seeking addiction, and not necessarily in abstinence, they can come to some of our groups. So we do have support groups here, we have coaching here, we have art groups, and they're allowed to come to them in a controlled environment. But to use the drop-in, which is we open from 10 till 3, And it's kind of focused around me dropping my boy off to school, to be honest, if I'm honest about it. But we open till 10 to 3 every day. We have some groups in the evenings. And we're here all the time. Like, you can come in and ring the bell and come in and see us. I mean, the referral process is quite simple. It's just a case of, so we know where you're at, you know, and then they'll come in and speak to us. We'll gauge where somebody's at and what we feel is the best thing to help them. But when you become a member, you can use the drop-in as you want, you know, and you can use all the facilities here. It doesn't cost anything. And I've never charged anyone for anything. So yeah, it's open every day. We were open on, we closed down recently just for a couple of days because we had a bit of a scare with the COVID. But yeah, the best way, Google the Comeback Grimsby. We're there, you'll find us.
Good old Google. We love Google. And talking about COVID, you actually got COVID, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we had a bit of we do have some like counsellors in here, like trainee counsellors anyway, do it. And one of them called us and said, look, I've got it. So there was a big scare because we'd got through all the way through without anything. Surprisingly, we was actually saying, like, I wonder if it doesn't touch us. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't touch people addicts, right? Because it probably goes in there and thinks, oh no, I don't like it there. So we were having a laugh about it, and then I got it. We closed down, and then I was just ill, and then no one believed me. They were going, you know, they were saying, oh, you know, because they think I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, and my missus does anyway. So I went and got a test, and I was positive. My missus was positive. It weren't no picnic. Like, that's all I can say. It ruined my Christmas. Couldn't taste anything, or, you know, big Christmas dinner, and I couldn't taste any of it, which was a disaster for me because I still like my food. But I was more worried about my missus because her oxygen levels in her blood were down, and we thought we was going to have to get her to hospital. It was a bit touch and go for a while. So yeah, it was worrying. And it's quite disconcerting, especially the smell thing, because, you know, if you're anything like me, you go on Google and you look it all up, and there's like some people who haven't got their smell back in months, you know. And I was thinking, they don't even know if it's permanent or not. And I think even now, like, it's 50%. Like, it's come back, but it's 50%. So yeah, it was a tough few weeks, but I'm okay now. I'm back working. I'm, you know, just grateful that we got through it okay.
Yeah, thanks God for that. So much grateful. Did you want to ask? I'm sorry to tell you, but we're nearly finished. I can't believe an hour has already gone. We could easily do another hour at least. Have you got any other questions, Kevin? Before we,
I just I haven't got any questions. I just want to say it was a brilliant experience listening to you, and it's such a great idea. And when I'm up there again, which hopefully it will be, I'll come along and join in the music classes or whatever. And I just want to say to the three of you, thank you very, very much. It's been a delight, and as ever, it's a privilege to listen to people's stories, you know, because it's not easy. It's not easy coming on and telling your truth and exposing, you know, the fact that, you know, you've had problems but you've come through the other side. And I wish you, all three of you, I wish you all the best in the world, and I hope I can get up and see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I ditto that. And amazing testimonies from all three of you. Thank you, honestly, for all of your honesty and willingness, really, to, you know, be vulnerable in front of Facebook Live, because, you know, it does take brave people to be able to come out and share their experience with others. And I personally really do appreciate it, because I know the impact it has. I know people send me message after message, emails and direct messages, phone calls, just commenting and thanking the people that they've heard on these talks. We've got loads of really interesting comments. We've got one here from somebody you might know, Samantha Wilding. She said it wasn't very nice, much better now. Oh, you need to unmute yourself, Sam.
Yeah, that's my better half.
Do you know what? I'm just so glad you're both well. So lots of love to Samantha. Thanks for commenting. But there's loads of really positive and just an amazing meeting. Well done, guys. Thanks, Kevin, Claire. brilliant. Good luck to you all. So much love, and so much thanks as well. I mean, like I say, I can't thank you all enough. I wish you all the love in the world. Can't wait to come to Grimsby to get stuck into some art projects with you. Really excited.
Oh, yeah. You'll be made very welcome.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you very soon. I hope and pray. So get this COVID out of the way and we'll be down.
Yeah, we'll try and come down to you as well. At some point, we'll bring a group down. I'd love to.
Would love that. Really love that. All right then, chaps. Well, lots of love. See you soon and come back.
Thanks, guys, for having us.
All right. Nice to see everyone. Thanks for joining us and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.